everybody. I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about what we have learned over the last 4 years since the 2019 election. Well, some things are really obvious and some aren't. But to start out, I'll go in chronological order. And this video, I'm going to touch on some subjects that might actually get me in trouble with YouTube. So you might be watching this on Rumble. So it's all just facts. It's nothing crazy. But YouTube only allows us to talk about certain facts on their platform. So we'll see how this goes. But even at the end of Trump's last administration, we had the pandemic occur. And some of you might not know, but absolutely no sitting U.S. president in history has lost an election while he was riding on a good economy. So, and Trump was riding on an excellent economy. His economy was booming. So that was a really huge coincidence that they just happened to have a situation there where they had to shut down his economy, make the race even closer. So in my opinion, that's why that happened. It's too much of a coincidence. It just if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I don't believe in coincidences like that. And especially when those coincidences make some people billions upon billions of dollars and destroys other people, the common people. So no, I don't think that it was a coincidence that Donald Trump's economy was destroyed, that the pharmaceutical industry made billions of dollars and millions of normal people died. I think that was a planned event. I think that it happened on purpose, and I think it happened, part of the reason was to get the election close enough to cheat, because they cheated. It's obvious. There's no way Biden got the most votes in the history of United States elections. He got a full one third more votes than Obama got, and at his best. He got 81 million votes, which is just insane. That old bumbling, stumbling moron did not get 81 million votes. It didn't happen. We all know it. Those of you who don't know it can look into it a little bit more, but it's ridiculous. Just that statistic and that fact alone, that Biden got the most votes ever by a large margin. I'm not talking about by, a couple 100,000. I'm talking about tens of millions more than the second most popular president ever, except for Trump, at the time when Trump was running against him. If Biden hadn't been in the race, Trump would have gotten the most votes in history, but not by that big a margin. So the second thing we learned is they'll cheat. They're cheaters. They'll cheat in an American election. And I did not want to believe that. I did not want to believe that would happen in America. I'm not one of these people that just jumped up and, started crying foul and they cheated right off the bat. I didn't want to believe it. But the evidence so far is basically points to the fact that they cheated. Every bit of evidence. I've seen young people on making videos, and they could have been lying, but making videos saying that they were just throwing away Trump votes, and all their friends were doing it too. And then they were boarding up the windows at the voting centers and stuff. There was too much shady shit happening, and everything pointing in the same direction. You have to be willfully ignorant to believe anything else at this point. So they cheated. We know that. And that's supposed to happen in, in these socialist countries, these regimes and all this shit, not in America. But it happened. And we got to make sure it doesn't happen again. Now, since then, the first thing they did was get in there and erase everything that Trump did, everything we wanted him to do. All the stuff we wanted Trump to do, all the reasons we voted him in, all the reasons we supported him, they went in and erased all that, undid it all. Got rid of all of it. The will of the American people, they erased. That by itself, if you just take that, and it's horrible. The supposed leadership of America, the government, went in and reversed the will of the American people. And they had to cheat to do it. And by doing that, they allowed and funded and supported the illegal invasion of our country by millions upon millions of immigrants, illegal immigrants. Among those immigrants were good people, children, and the last number I heard was 400,000 of these children that crossed the border are just unaccounted for. They just disappeared into the human trafficking rings and into the basements and whatever cults of whatever's going on with Epstein and Diddy and all this other crap that's going on. So these poor kids, and the left they really like to ignore that part. This illegal immigration, the most harmful part of that is to the children who come here. They are harmed the worst by this, not us. The real victims are the children brought across the border. The stuff that's happening to them right now is just horrifying to contemplate. And that ties into the other stuff with all this trans and sexualizing children and feminizing the little boys and all this stuff. Why is the left all about children? Why are they always messing with children? What's this big obsession they have with children and sex? Something to think about. Also among the women and children are criminals, murderers, thieves, drug addicts, rapists, all of them, all of the above. And mixed in with them are people, we just don't know who they are, what they're doing, why they're here. We don't know what kind of bad actors they have here, what they're going to do before January 20th. We just have no idea. And that was explicitly and purposely caused by the government, the deep state. Left, right, Democrat, Republican, they were all in on it. Everybody that was in there during the Biden regime, except for the people that were fighting against it. So there were a few congressmen and senators who were just vocal and screaming out about that shit. So I applaud them. But everybody else, they're just in on it. They're getting their cut. So it's this government, this deep state, and whoever's pulling their strings in the banking corporation, whoever's pulling their strings, it's them against us. It's not left versus right, Republican versus Democrat. It's that sick, disgusting cult group, whatever you want to call them, against the rest of us real people. But anyway, I digress. So after they undid everything Trump did and allowed all these illegals to flood into the country and sell off all these children being brought across the border, what else did they do? They started a war. Yeah, they started a war. Well, you can't live without war, right? So had to do that. We had to get us a war going. I'm not allowed to talk about the countries involved in the war, but we all know what war was started over there. So now we're on the verge of World War III and nuclear holocaust and all this stuff, and we could have easily just stayed out of it. We have evolved so far in technology and thinking and all this stuff, and we haven't solved the riddle of war yet. To me, that just blows my mind. With all of the military, political, and economic might of the United States, we can't stop wars. We can't just say, hey, you two, quit that shit. Let's sit down, we're gonna figure it out. Let's see, got to be something we can do here. Just chill out, or we're going to have to come in and kick both y'all's asses, right? Parents do it with their kids. People do it. Police do it. Everybody does it except on the national level. No, it's got to be war. Yeah. And if you look at it through on different levels like that, you know what I mean? Because the microscopic and the macroscopic, everything acts the same. So, except in this case, when you get up to the global level of things, they act like they just can't stop war, like it just has to happen. And if you're a common sense, free-thinking person, you realize that it doesn't have to happen. There's no reason for it at all. Zero. None. We could stop it. I thought that's what the UN was brought together for, to stop war. Since the advent of the UN, since they came together, we've had nothing but war nonstop. So what good are they? What good is the UN if they're not going to stop war? So we got a war out of it. So a pandemic and a war so far. Oh, I kind of skipped over there. All of the forced medications. People lost their jobs. People were kicked out of the military if they refused to take the medication. And after the medication was taken, it was some crazy statistic that you can easily look up, but I'm gonna give you a general idea of it. The number of heart attacks between the ages of this young 15 to 25 in that age group skyrocketed by like 1,000% or something, because they never have them. Who has a heart attack when they're 18 years old? Nobody, hardly. You know what I'm saying? But that skyrocketed. So maybe that's a coincidence, right? Maybe it's a coincidence. That's what it was. Just a coincidence. Just like the wars and the other stuff. That's just coincidence. It is a coincidence that when the deep state gets a hold of the presidency, we get embroiled in war. We get close to World War III. That's just a coincidence. Okay. What else did we learn? The deep state loves inflation. We know that now. Yeah, inflation. The price of gasoline and groceries has skyrocketed since they took office. And I say they because Biden's hardly aware of, whether he's dressed or not, whether, he's an old doddering fool and should have never been in there, but he was their best shot because nobody else could get close enough to cheat. You know what I mean? To cheat him out of it. So, and they couldn't cheat in a way that was just completely, totally obvious. Well, like with Kamala Harris, there's no way, because everyone would have known right off the bat. So they had to keep it close. So they killed the economy, and he was just the closest one they had. He was their really only option. But anyway, so the economy just exploded with inflation. And here's the thing about inflation and all this economic stuff. How can there be inflation these huge corporations are clocking in record profits, record-breaking profits. So why do they have to raise their prices? They're forced to raise their prices because the prices to manufacture this stuff supposedly are raised. But how then they should keep the same profits, right? If it's inflation forcing them to raise their prices, they should keep the same profits. But no, they have record-breaking profits. And you can look it up. So the prices, of course, the prices of the labor, their labor force did not go up. They're not paying their people anymore. What is it? The price of chicken feed, or what skyrocketed? The price of grass. So, where when you chase this inflation back to its source, what commodity shot up and forced everything else to be expensive? You could say fuel. Okay, if that's the case, then fuel going up $1 a gallon does not support this high of a price, especially when the fuel company is making record profits. All right, and they're moving these things in huge quantities. It's not like they got to drive each frozen chicken in a Datsun B210 or something. You know what I mean? They've got huge trucks full of chickens, and they drive once. They don't use more gas. Just one tank of gas went up. So I have my own theory on this whole inflation thing. It's just a shell game that they play to leech us for more money. I mean, inflation's ridiculous, especially when you look at what is money. Go down that rabbit hole. Who controls the money? Go down that rabbit hole. This inflation shit is just another way to make huge corporations more and more billions of dollars. That's all it is. So we got war, inflation, illness, immigration, masses of immigration, human trafficking. These are just some of the things we got in the last 4 years. We can't forget this stuff over the next 4 years. We cannot forget. We have to remember what we're fighting for. We have to remember what we've gone through. We cannot let them have the control back. We cannot give them the steering wheel again. I don't know about you, but I've got 30, 40 more years on this planet, and I do not plan on living like that, like the last 4 years, because it's just going to get worse. It's not going to get better. You think that at the end of this 4 years, they were gonna right the ship somehow. They were gonna end inflation and put the prices back down to normal, and the war is over. So now we're gonna have decades of peace and prosperity. Tightened up our borders now. We're good. End the child trafficking and stuff. No more sickness. No more illness. No more forced medications. This is what they were going to do all of a sudden, do an entire about face and fix everything that they had broken? No. If we allow them to do it, they're just going to keep going further and further and further. We need to keep our eye on the ball and remember what they've done to us and the rest of the world. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to become a member of Gen X Thinks, I'll leave the link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can click on that super thanks button down there. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I'll put that link down in the description too. If you're interested in Gen X gear, you can hop over to Redbubble and check out the stuff we have over there. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff. Here's a new one I just put up. You can get that logo on t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff over there. But I'll leave that link down in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, please share these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much. I'm trying to put out a good message here, a message of freedom, prosperity, and trying to keep us all alert and keep our eye on the ball. So thank you if you do that. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.